Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thanks. We just we just showed the tweet about no too deep transfer portal. Can you try to just describe what it's like? They had the great run. There's not much it's just you don't hear much about what's going on. They've got the great players coming back. And what's it just like around the program itself?
It's rare to see this. This day and age, transfer portal is crazy. Guys flying in and out. ASU went through a really rough patch for a couple of years. The prior staff leaving, the NCAA investigation. I think only Colorado had more transfers in than ASU did in that first winter spring cycle when Kenny Dillingham took over end of 2023 through the spring of 2024. And to go from that to this tremendous stability that we've seen this year after the most impressive turnaround in school history, going from back-to-back 3-9 seasons to an 11-win team, and now no starters, no top backups transferring. These guys are having so much fun. We saw social media players were throwing Kenny Dillingham into his pool last week. He's doing a 100-yard bear crawl at the end of their spring game on Friday night in the stadium. You had more excitement from fans and just the overall emotion than I've seen in a very long time. It's just a euphoric type of an atmosphere around Tempe right now.
I mean, Kenny Dillingham's culture notwithstanding, what does that also say about their NIL situation, that they didn't have anybody that was like, well, I'm just going to go get paid? Like they didn't have any of that in the like I said, in the near too deep that happened as well.
Well, yeah, Sam Levit, Jordan Tyson, those guys could have gone and been paid a lot more at other schools. There were some reports out there that some CFP caliber teams were interested in Levit. Ultimately, I think the implied value of returning to an offense in which they've already experienced a lot of success and they trust the coaching staff to be able to develop them to maximize their NFL draft value overcame the ability to go make several $100,000 more at some other school in NIL. And then, of course, as you guys are aware, we're entering this revenue share era, the House settlement with the NCAA. If that gets codified here in the coming weeks or months, you're going to see schools paying their players up to 75% of $20.5 million. I think that's going to equalize the playing field to some degree when coupled with Deloitte's being tasked with determining fair market valuation on some of these NIL deals that could make it harder for the blue bloods to be able to funnel as much money through their boosters. ASU was operating at a 6-to-1 or a 7-to-1 differential in its revenue of its players last season compared to a Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon. The reporting by Ohio State's AD saying $20 million for their roster. Oregon was at least that much, from what I understand. ASU was a $3 to $4 million roster last year. So I really also believe that this is going to be less of a disadvantage for ASU and other schools working into this fall and beyond.
Chris, next year's looking like it could really be a bang-up draft, especially in the first round with Tyson and Levit potentially. But your thoughts on where Cam Skattebo landed there with the New York Giants? I know they had a couple of undrafted free agent guys as well, but any takeaways just from the NFL weekend and how that impacted Arizona State?
Yeah, super deep running back class. Hard to really evaluate all those guys in my role to understand how I might have had them in the pecking order. Certainly, Ashton Genty is the only running back in the country who you could clearly say is an understandable notch ahead of Cam Scadaboo. Even that is potentially debatable, right? I loved R.J. Harvey. Watching him in person, we saw a lot of great backs in the Big 12 this year. You guys are familiar with Giddens and Neal and Texas Tech. Taj Brooks had a great running back. I thought Scadaboo was as good as any of them as a college player. I did like Harvey maybe a little bit more as a prospect, so I understand him going higher. Scadaboo being a late third or early fourth rounder is exactly where I had him pegged. I thought he would go somewhere in the 80s to maybe 120. Not surprised whatsoever. Giants, very good fit. He's a contrast to their starter, who was a fifth-round draft pick last year, style-wise. I think he's going to be a fan favorite with the Giants. I mean, how do you not like Cam Scadaboo? The guy's one of the toughest, hardest-nosed players that you're going to have. He's going to break tackles, amazing contact balance. Yeah, he doesn't have that top gear that a lot of the best NFL running backs have. I think that's a little bit undervalued, overvalued, I should say, when compared with the ability to break tackles and get yards after contact. Also, Scadaboo is very good out of the backfield as a pass catcher. Should be a very good third down back, short yardage situations, goal line situations, and max protecting. I think he's going to carve out a role immediately and eventually be at a minimum a timeshare, really solid NFL running back.
Chris, you mentioned the two deep that basically untouched. At least that's part of what we discussed and have you on for. What did they bring in? And I saw the running back out of Houston, I think, that committed to them over the weekend. I believe that's who it was, from Atascocita, which is a big-time school down in Houston. What did they bring in? That's next year, I believe. But what did they bring in that can help them this year?
Yeah, so in the winter transfer cycle, they needed help at wide receiver. So they brought in Jaron Hamilton from Alabama. He's a twitchy athlete, take deep ball type of a guy. Noble Johnson came in from Clemson, bigger body, going to be a good blocker. They got Jaron Moss, a receiver out of Fresno State. He had over 1,000 yards in his first 2 seasons playing at that level, and he looks good as a return option, a slot guy. I think that's going to be a big thing. The biggest loss on defense was nickel, where Shamari Simmons was their defensive player of the year 2 years in a row. They added Kendrick Breedlove from Purdue. He was I think he was like their 4th highest rated defensive player by PFF. He looked good in the spring, physical guy. ASU returns 10 starting defensive players. This is going to be one of the best defenses in the country. They did add Mykiel Gardner from Oregon, a hometown kid, top 10 Arizona recruit in his class. He's a sophomore now. He'll be a D tackle to help replace Jeff Clark. They got Kamari Anderson via Kentucky as a tight end in the transfer portal. He'll probably end up in the 2 deep. He's a really good player. And probably the biggest addition when they were trying to replace Cam Scadaboo, they added Kanye Udo, who had, I think, 1,200 rushing yards at Army last season. He's a bigger, physical one-cut back. I think he'll end up in a more of a share the ball situation there in the backfield. The ASU has Kyson Brown, who played behind Scadaboo last year, and Rayleigh Brown, a very, very athletic guy who missed last season with a hamstring. So they're in a very good position, ASU, both sides of the football. Defense looks like it's going to be excellent. Offense needed a little bit more help. Also, Jamedo Obigbo he's an offensive guard, could compete for the left guard position, because Ben Coleman is going to probably slide from left guard to center to replace Lee Faltanu, who was an all-conference player. And then just today, actually, ASU added the Helton twins, Wade and Brent Helton from Iowa State. Those guys were recruited by ASU out of high school, redshirted last year at Iowa State. Wade Helton's the better of the two as a evaluation standpoint, and he's another option at center that they'll take a look at this summer.
What is the reasonable ceiling right now for a guy like Sam Levit when it comes to this year? given that he's working with probably the hottest QB coach going right now, who's got, Jordan Travis and Bo Nix on his belt as well. And now Sam Levit, who wasn't out of nowhere. He was a highly recruited player, but certainly didn't have the kind of juice around him that everybody else had.
The ceiling is a top 15 pick in the NFL draft next year. And he's going to be 3 years out of college, or into college, I should say, by that point. I saw one mock draft by somebody who works for PFF this morning that had Sam Levit drafted going number 8 overall next year. His PFF grade was the second best among all true freshmen or redshirt freshmen who were starters last season, regular starters last season. I think Manning was a little bit higher, but obviously not the same number of reps. Everything kind of depends. It's a good quarterback class. It depends on how he performs and who decides to go into that draft and a lot of other variables. But Kenny Dillingham has compared Sam Levit even before last season to Bo Nix. I don't know that we've seen quite the accuracy yet from Levit, but his ball security, outstanding. Only 6 interceptions in his first year as a starter in 14 games. That was the best rate among any regular starter in the Big 12. Plenty of arm talent. He's added 10 pounds. He's up to 210 pounds now. Looks good, mobile. He'll run for first downs, extend plays. He's an ultra competitor. He's an alpha type guy. ASU's coaches and other players said that he was trying to win every race and conditioning drills this offseason. He's the type of guy that coaches and GMs are going to fall in love with when they meet with him and when they understand what he's all about. It would not be a surprise at all to see him be a first rounder next year.
Chris, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Rossini got an extension, I believe, the AD, so everything's going well right now in Tempe, huh?
Hey, it's been a huge change in about 2 years, and things are looking really good right now at ASU.
Thank you. Now you got to go. Thank you very much. Chris Karpman, SunDevilSource.com with us